My wife Julie just got done making this super tasty apple cider bread, and she made this as a special treat for our family. We're going to show you exactly how she put this together every step of the way. Let's get going. And as we do in all of our cooking videos, we do list all the ingredients in the description below, so it's easy for you to copy those later on after watching the video. Julie's getting started off here with a half a cup of apple cider. She puts that into a pot and brings that to a boil on the stovetop using a medium-high temperature. Now, we didn't have any softened butter handily available, so we did partially melt this stick of butter and place that into a bowl. And following that, Julie's going to add a cup of packed brown sugar into that same bowl. Kind of looks like we're building a sandcastle. And just like that, there goes our sandcastle. Alright, well, you see Julie is fully mixing these two together using her rubber spatula. Now, when you're mixing these together, you do want these to be fully and equally mixed, so you want to spend some time in making sure this is thoroughly mixed before your next step. And it looks like she's got that fully mixed now. Now, let's not forget about our stove top where we have our apple cider still heating up. We're going to stir this every now and then, just as it's continuing to heat up on that medium temperature. What we're looking for here is for that half a cup of apple cider to turn into only a quarter cup. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on this. And now we're back to the island as that cider is reducing, adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to that bowl. And we're going to follow that up here with 2 large eggs cracked into that same bowl. Now we're going to turn our attention back to that stove top, take a look at that apple cider, and it looks like it's reduced by about half here. So we're going to remove this from the heat and let that sit as we prepare everything else. And we're back to our bowl on the island. We're going to give this a nice full mixing with rubber spatula. And we're going to give you a little challenge. See if you can hit that subscribe button before Julie is done mixing this bowl. And go. Ha, sorry, I didn't tell you I was going to cheat. But still hope you found that button and joined our family. And here's a jar of unsweetened applesauce. Julie's going to grab a quarter cup of this, and we'll place that into a separate bowl, which we've got right here. Now Julie's got some Greek plain yogurt. It's not vanilla, it's plain, and she made that very clear on my shopping list. She put 3 tablespoons of plain Greek yogurt into that same bowl. There we go. Now we've let this reduced apple cider cool down just a bit here, and we can add that into our small bowl, and we're going to give this a nice full mix. We're going to use a nice whisk here just to make sure everything is fully integrated together. And we'll speed things up a little bit here and watch Julie fully mix this so you can see what it looks like when she's done. Now we can put that aside. Next up is our all-purpose flour. We're going to grab 2 cups of this and place this into another new mixing bowl. There we go. After that, we're going to follow this up with a baking powder. This is going to be 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder into that same bowl with the flour. Following that, we're going to go with the baking soda, and this is a half a teaspoon of baking soda into that same new flour bowl. And here we've got the salt. This is a half a teaspoon of the salt. Perfect. And now my lovely bride has her hands on some ground cinnamon. She's going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of this ground cinnamon into that same bowl that has the flour. She's using a smaller measuring spoon because, well, that's the only one that fits into that jar. There we go. Now we've got one more invited to this party, and that's our ground nutmeg. This is a half teaspoon of ground nutmeg joining into that bowl. And as you probably guessed, it's time to give this a nice thorough mixing. She's using her whisk for this just to give it a nice full mixing here at 3 times the speed. Looks good. Now it's time to start preheating that oven to 350 degrees. Now let's spray the cooking oil over the bread pan fully. You can see that we're using the mini bread pan with 8 loaves. This is something that we really like to do with this and banana bread. And now we can move on to our batter by adding half of the dry ingredients into our egg mixture, and then we can beat that with our hand mixer. Now we're speeding this up just a bit here, but this was a total of about 20 seconds. And we'll keep this moving along by adding in half of the apple cider mixture and doing the same thing here. And about 15 seconds later, we add in the rest of the dry ingredients. Here's another 15 seconds with the hand mixer. And now she completes the batter by adding in the remainder of the apple cider mixture here, and again one more time with the hand mixer. And 15 seconds later, we have our batter. And then she grabs her rubber spatula just to fully mix this together, and let's listen to her why she likes these smaller loaves.
I like the small pans because they're individual, so everybody gets their own little bread and it cooks evenly and through and thorough, and there's no like doughy middle or burnt outside or nothing. It cooks perfectly.
Yeah, certainly over the years she has found that using this type of a bread pan makes it so much easier to share with others, just to give people their own individual and personal loaves, which makes it a little bit more special. And now you can see she has evenly spread out that batter amongst all the 8 cavities in this bread pan. Just smooth out those tops just a bit more, and then we're ready to bake. The oven here has been preheated to 350 degrees, so Julie did place this in the oven for 20 minutes. Now she's going to quickly rotate this here. Our oven here is a bit on the older side, so we do make sure we rotate it at the halfway point. After a total of 32 minutes of baking, she did take this out here, removes those from the pan, and lets those cool on the cooling rack for about 10 minutes. And then it's on to the topping. And to make this simple cinnamon and sugar topping, you want to simply mix a 1/4 cup of sugar with a 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon. Julie already had some made from a previous recipe, so she's using that. And now she's going to melt 4 tablespoons of butter. And once that's fully melted, she's going to grab her pastry brush and use that to brush on the melted butter onto all 4 sides and the top of each of these mini loaves. And when she completes all 4 sides and the top of a loaf, she'll stop and bring that over to the cinnamon and sugar mixture and rotate that in there just to make sure all the cinnamon and sugar sticks onto those key sides, just to give this a nice final touch. And then simply repeat the process for each loaf of brushing on that butter and then mixing into the sugar and cinnamon. My wife certainly enjoys trying to find new recipes and putting her own little spin onto each one of them, and I'm certainly grateful she does. Man, these are tasty. And certainly if you've enjoyed this video, we invite you to click that subscribe button for more content like this from our family to yours. And here's another video from our channel that you can see by clicking right up here. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below, and until next time, God bless.